To create your portfolio, first thing you want to do is pick your 20 best shots. You should have 20 best shots. If you don't have 20 best shots, that's a little bit of a problem. Um, you have to take more shots that you consider to be your best and get a total of 20. These shots should also have been worked on in Photoshop unless they're absolutely perfect right out of the camera. Best cropping and lighting and everything, you should work on them in Photoshop, and you should have already at this point, at least most of the newer stuff. And crop them, add an adjustment layer, do something creative with them. Even if you did work on them in Photoshop, consider going in there again, maybe doing something a little more creative. Like I pulled in 20 student examples, and I actually worked on them in Photoshop. Like this one right here, I did an invert, which is not something I actually showed you guys how to do, but it's kind of a fun little thing. You do it to a color image and a black and white image. Just pull up the image in Photoshop, and it's under the image adjustment area. These are like adjustment layers, but they're not layers. If you actually use these adjustments, it actually applies it right to the actual image. But there's a little tool here called invert, and it'll actually invert the colors, or if it's black and white, it'll invert the black to the white, basically just reversing the colors. So have fun with the pictures, make them look interesting. All right. Once you actually have the photos all done, name them in a logical manner. You can just type in titles if you want instead of like a photo number. I actually just went and named them all 20 best shots, and they were sort of done numerically. You can use JPEGs or PNG files. It doesn't really make a difference. Just don't use PSD files. Or Photoshop files. It'll make the whole thing too big. So if you do manipulate them in Photoshop, save them as a JPEG, name them in a nice way. Okay. After you got the photographs, they're all worked. Next thing you want to do is you're gonna have to write a little blurb, a little kind of self-evaluation about the photograph, or telling the viewer a little bit about the photograph. So I would go into Google Docs and basically make a list of 1 through 20, and obviously do it in the order you got your photos, and just write a little something about the actual photographs. Okay, so I'm gonna actually put this up on School Loop. The first three are examples of things you could say, actual things you could say, and I wrote something like I took that shot, as if I took that shot. So I wrote up a little paragraph. The shot was taken daylight and is in the shade, so I used a reflector, blah blah blah. And just be serious. Tell me what you did, why you did it, why you think it's a good shot. Um, you don't have to write the exact same thing for every photograph, but you know, mix it up and make it interesting. These two lines right here, obviously I'm doing it like these are my 20 photographs, and these are the paragraphs I wrote about them. But the first three are serious. Then the next two right here, they're in red. These are critique questions you can think about as you write this 20. Okay, so what's adding to the photograph? What's taking away? How your eyes travel through the frame. So don't be confused. I mean, all your 20 should be like these first three. But these two are just, things you can also think about. It's the basic critique questions we actually had. And then the rest of it is just a fill document called Lorem Ipsum that people use just to fill in space to make it look like I did a comment on every single 20, which I didn't because I don't have the time to do that. And they're not my photographs anyways. So you can write a little something about all 20 of your photographs. Do it ahead of time. Do it in a Google Doc. Save it. Okay. And I actually have my document, okay, my directions, which is actually the Google Doc that you'll have, in the same folder in my drive with my 20 photographs. All right. Best thing, have them on a flash drive so you can plug it in really quick, work on it, and unplug it when you're done. It's a good thing to have as a flash drive. It makes things much, much more convenient. If you're frustrated with the whole Google Drive and not being on the same computer, the simple $5 solution would have been getting a flash drive. Suggested at the beginning of the year, suggested again later on. If you continue to be frustrated but didn't solve the problem for yourself, um, that's something you should have taken care of, right? But again, the Google Drive does work. It's just a little bit slower. If you want it faster, get a flash drive. Even at this point, it'll be useful for the rest of your school and college career. Okay. So once you got the 20 comments or evaluation paragraphs done. You got your pictures edited, they're all in a nice little folder. You're actually ready to make the portfolio. I would strongly suggest you pause the video right now and go do these things first. And don't write up the 20 comments in class, write them up at home. All right, put the files in a folder in your drive, and do the stuff at home. Don't waste your class time, because you could actually just be doing, Photoshop projects and other stuff. If you do the written part at home, the actual putting the portfolio together takes 15 minutes. It's not very hard. All right, but once you're at that stage, you paused, you started the video back up. This is the next part. All right, I'm going to show you a finished example right now, because I actually just did a finished example. Let me make it a full screen so it looks a little bit nicer. Let's see if it'll go full screen. There we go. So this is my finished example of portfolio. The actual background is one of the photographs that I took, and I just made the background. I'll show you how to do that. And there's 5 different styles to choose from. I forget this one's called. Just the way it's presented. And I can just click through the pictures. I have little titles for all the different pictures here. And that paragraph that you put in is right here where it's in the info. So it's the description of the actual shot. I can close that up. It goes back to the photograph, and you can go all the way to the 20th shot. All right, so this is a really cool thing. You can actually email this PDF file. Anybody can open up a PDF file. There's no special software that's required, because Adobe Acrobat Reader is free and most computers have it. And a lot of other programs can open it up also. So this is a very cool thing. Make it nice, and you can actually use it for a potential job in the summer, or part-time job while you're in college or something. If you're looking for photography or something, even if you're just trying to get a job doing some tech work, you can say, hey, look, I did this in Adobe Acrobat, and I'm pretty good at making stuff. All right. So once you are ready, I'm going to close most of these windows up. I guess I do need my directions still, or my info. Just going to minimize that. Once you're ready, you need to go to a computer that has Adobe Acrobat Pro. Most of them do, and I'll try to make sure all of them do before you guys start. But if Adobe Acrobat Pro is not in your taskbar, which it actually is for me, let me close this up. You need to actually find it, and it's not hard to find. If you have the launcher, you can go into the launcher, and from the launcher, hey, there's Acrobat Pro. If you don't have the launcher, you can just go to the Finder. I don't know, I always click on the preferences. You can go into the Finder, go to Applications, and scroll down, look for Acrobat Pro. And the icon's white with a big kind of red painted A. So just obviously, there it is. Hey, exciting. And then just launch it. Okay. Once you launch it, it's pretty obvious what you're going to click on. Create PDF portfolio. Okay, because that's what we're going to create. You can do a lot of other cool things in this. If you have the Pro, you can combine PDFs in one. You can create your own PDF file that, it's kind of like a permanent document. But let's just create our portfolio. Right here, you have a choice between click-through, freeform, grid, linear. My example was actually linear and wave. You can change this after the fact, but just, pick one for now. I'll do wave. And then you want to add your files. Okay, your files hopefully are on your desktop, just like mine. And I think I can click and drag. There, I got all 20 selected. Hit finish. Okay, and it's going to pull them all in. And at this point, it really is a portfolio. It's just not really refined. It just doesn't look very good. All right. And there's 2 tabs we're really going to go through: the layout and the details. And we're going to go down this palette and modify what we want to modify. We already added files. We don't need to add a folder. We don't need to add web content. We've already picked our layout. We're going to do wave. And I guess there's custom layouts too, but you'd probably have to download those from the web. Now we're going to do our visual theme. You can do clean. You can do spring, tech office, modern, translucent. Pick one you like. I'll just do clean. Why not? And going a little further down, we can do our color palettes. We can actually change the colors within this theme a little bit more. There's like these preset colors you can choose. And I think we might actually create our own, but probably just easier just to pick a color palette. These people know how to match colors, so they've got some colors already set up for you. All right, and then a little further down, let's go a little further down. Background. This part's kind of fun. Okay, I'm going to the background and I want to actually pick my own background and choose new. So right now it's a clean default image. That's just a little textured background. I can choose new, and I'm going to pick one of the 20 shots that I had, like at the Hong Kong Phooey. That one's a good one. I'm going to use this one. So this will be my background, but I don't want it to be really sharp and crisp. That's kind of distracting because we really want to be looking at the pictures as they come through. So the cool thing is I picked the background, but I can totally blur it out, which will make it not so distracting, but yet kind of interesting at the same time. Image opacity will just make it a little bit more transparent. I'll leave it like halfway. I don't want it totally transparent, but that's pretty cool. So now it's there. I can kind of see that there's an image back there, but it's not too distracting. And working my way down, you can change the font if you want. I don't think it's really important. And if you want, you can embed the font too. What that means is the actual font you use is going to go along with a PDF. So if someone's opening it up on a computer that does not have the font you chose, like Nadim, the font will actually be embedded in the actual file, so it won't be a problem. Which you could do. That could actually solve some problems if you try to send this to somebody and you don't want them to actually have to solve a problem when they open up your portfolio. They just want to open up your portfolio and see the shots. So once you get this all done, and this looks okay, I don't like those colors. Let's do those colors. Then you want to go into your details, and in the details is where you're going to basically just cut and paste all that information. Now we don't want that much details. We want the display name. That's important. That's the name we're going to actually give the file, not the actual file name. So we don't need the name, but we want the display name. Okay. We want the description. That's where we're going to cut and paste all our stuff. We really don't need the date it was modified or the size or all this other stuff. Really, we just want the display name and the description. Okay. Once you set this up, next thing you want to do is pull up your document that you wrote up all that information in, and now it's pretty easy. You're just going to grab the first line, command copy, click, command paste. And then I would actually just give this a name too. Okay, so dude in car. Just much more interesting than 20 best shots, parentheses 1.png. Give it an actual name. And then just work your way all the way down. Cutting and pasting the information you wrote, giving it a name, and then when you're done, you're basically done at that point, and you can just go File, Save Portfolio, and this will be a portfolio that you can use, hopefully. And don't forget, you are going to turn this in, and we're going to turn this into the Photoshop turn-in folder. And your portfolio, I'm not going to finish this one because I already finished one. When you save your portfolio, name it just like we've been doing before. So it's last, first, and all caps portfolio. Except we don't need it doubled. Okay. And that's basically it. Pay attention to where you're saving it to. Right now it's saving it to my 20 best shots folder, but probably for you guys you want to save it to your desktop so you can find it really quickly and upload it to your drive and then turn it in. And that is it. If you have any questions, come and see me. This should be the last thing you're working on, so if you have time, take your time. If you don't have time, if you're running out of time, do what you can at home so you can just wrap it up in class. And again, it took me, really, the PDF part takes 10 minutes. Well, maybe you got to type in all your names and stuff over here. Maybe 20 minutes tops to do. All right, so you can do all this stuff at home and then 20 minutes to put it together. Of course, maybe you might spend more time on your actual photographs in Photoshop. Hopefully you do, and you end up having something really nice. All right. Well, thank you. It's been a fun year.